Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see in the picture today, let's start the story of what if Issei was neglected and becomes the god of creation and destruction part 6. Before we start, please go support Ethan1939 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Part 27, sorry. Issei and his friends can be seen calmly playing and having fun until a certain ex-nun reminds one of her friends that apparently she was not with them. Asia? Hey, where is Yuri-chan? Where he is? I don't know, I didn't see her today. Rainer? I'm sure she's just depressed in her room. It doesn't matter, she said without interest when mentioning the albino. Asia? Don't be mean, Rainer-san, she's our friend. The fallen one just clicked her tongue and looked away angrily. Irina? Sigh. I'll go see where she is, she said, getting up. The blonde only went to the albino's room, and when she opened the door, she found no one. Irina? Yuri, are you here looking for the girl? The girl looked around the room, but she didn't find anyone, and before leaving she saw a small letter on her desk. Irina, and this. Taking the letter for me, Issei-kun, what is this? The curious girl opened the letter and read it, and when she did she was just horrified. With Issei was still calm, but that calmness faded when he heard a loud scream coming from above. Irina, the boys, upon hearing the loud scream, only became upset and quickly ran up the stairs to see what had happened. Issei. Irina entering the door. What's happening? The boys only saw Irina letting out tears while she was holding a note. Irina. Issei-kun sniffed, crying. Issei. What's wrong? The girl just hugged Issei and showed him the letter. Irina. Why, Yuri? Yuri. Sniff sniff, look, showing the letter. Issei just took the letter, and when he read it, he just paled a little since it was a suicide letter. Letter from Yuri. From my Issei-kun, I know that mistakes have been made, mistakes that I cannot amend, and I know that you still hate me, and you don't treat me like other girls, because I know that deep in your heart, you still hate me for having you deceived. I understand you. If you had done that to me, I would hate you too, so since I know about the new system, something occurred to me, commit suicide. So maybe I can make amends for my sins and my betrayal towards you. Really forgive me for what I made you suffer and tell my friends and but you that I will miss them. Goodbye, Mike. You to say. End of Yuri's letter. Issei read everything out loud so that his other classmates also knew what was happening, and some girls, upon hearing the girl's letter, just started crying, and others just lowered their heads in sadness. Issei just clenched his fists and burned the letter with his fire. Issei, Boba, what the hell do you think you're going to do? He said angrily. Issei Solo took out his four wings and jumped out the window in search of Yuri. In another side, you can see an albino woman walking through the streets of Kwa, and then he stops and sees an ice cream parlor that is very familiar to him. Yuri? Yes, I remember. That was the ice cream parlor where he took me on our first date. Flashback. The brown circa with a somewhat nervous stamina can be seen in casual clothing. Issei, see. Come on, Issei, calm down. It's your first date, and you can't ruin it, he said to himself. The boy only waited a couple more minutes, and the brunette could see a beautiful albino girl with a beautiful dress that made her look like an angel. Hello Issei-kun, sorry for making you wait, she said, a little nervous too. Issei. And no, nothing's wrong, in fact I just arrived. Sigh, what a relief, but hey, it's time to start our date, right? He said with a beautiful smile that made him blush. The boys just started their date, and Issei had to admit that it was the first time in several years that he felt happy being with someone. They both went to eat some ice cream while they were talking about their tastes and some personal topics in their past. When walking through the streets, several people stared at Yuri because of how beautiful she looked, and they cursed Issei for being with that beauty. They both continued walking and touring the city in each other's company. At one point Issei went to the bathroom, leaving Yuri alone for a few moments, and when she came out she saw some idiots trying to take Yuri according to them to have fun. Come on, beautiful, we just want to have fun. Yes, why don't you come with us taking Yuri's doll, Yuri? Sorry, but I'm with someone, releasing the idiot's grip, the extra one. Come on, I'm sure he won't be upset. Issei just saw that pretty and quickly pushed one of the strangers away and hugged Yuri protectively. Issei? Stay away from her, she is my girlfriend, so stay away from her, he said, blushing but determined in her words. The idiots, seeing that, just clicked their tongues and left, leaving both of them alone. Seeing that both strangers left, Issei hugged Yuri tightly. Yuri? Issei. Forgive me for leaving you alone hugging the Albion, but I promise I won't let anyone hurt you, looking at Yuri with a smile. At that moment Yuri's heart began to beat strongly, and the girls blushed when they saw Issei's smile. Yuri? Hi. Somewhat surprised by what Issei said, and she just smiled and hugged Issei, putting her face on her chest. I hope so. They both just continued their date with complete tranquility, and at the end of the day, they both went to a large cliff to see the stars. Yuri, this place is beautiful, seeing the beautiful meadow rounded and the beautiful stars that decorated the night sky. How did you find this place? Issei, one day they had hit me very hard. I fainted, and when I opened my eyes, I found myself in a forest. I just walked for a while until I got here looking at the sky, but in that I noticed Yuri hugging his chest and using him as a pillow. Yuri? They hurt you a lot, right? Issei, always, but I'm used to it. Besides, not everything is so bad. Looking at Yuri. Thanks to that beating, I was able to find this beautiful place, and I was also able to meet you, Yuri-chan, he said with a bright smile. The girl just blushed because of what the boy said, and she got closer to her face, and they both gave each other a beautiful and passionate kiss full of love. That same night, Issei and Yuri witnessed a very beautiful rain of stars, as if the sky were crying for the union of such a beautiful couple. Also that same night, they both officially became a couple, and both went to their respective homes happily. After that day, Issei's life was not so bad. Even though he still received many beatings from his classmates, the boy did not collapse, since he knew that even if the world hit him with all its might, he would have Yuri always manage to support him, and that she would never betray him, or that was what the brunette thought. Then flash black. Now you can see Yuri on the same cliff. The sun was already setting, and you could see a beautiful sunset in front of Yuri, who was just one step away from falling off a huge cliff. Yuri, they were beautiful moments. Sniff sniff. Starting to cry when remembering Issei's nice and beautiful moments before she cheated on him. You don't need me with you anymore. Sniff. I'm just a reminder of a bad memory. Sniff sniff. And even if you don't believe it, I still love you, and I always will. Taking one last step. Goodbye, Issei. Letting you fall towards the ravine, being swallowed by the enormous abyss. The girl just let herself fall, and the only thing that crossed her mind was Issei. The girl remembered all her beautiful moments while she was falling, and before she hit the ground she felt arms hugging her tightly, and when she opened her eyes she saw Issei with his wings carrying her and looking at her with rage for the stupidity he was about to commit. The boy just let go and landed, and Issei let go of her. Issei. What the hell is wrong with you? Looking at Yuri. Furious you were about to kill yourself? The girl just started crying as she hugged Issei. Yuri. Why? Sniff sniff. Why do you keep saving and supporting me? I hurt you. Sniff. I betrayed you. Because you saved me, why don't you let him kill me so he can redeem me? Sniff sniff. Why? They say. Because I don't want you to kill yourself, stupid, that's why. I know that you cheated on me, but still. Even though I do that, I can't let you die. Because I still care about you, Yuri. The girl, upon hearing those words, only began to cry hard into Issei's chest. Yuri? Then you, Issei? No. I still can't see you how I saw you before. And maybe I never will, but... Looking at Yuri, you can't throw away your entire life for me. Why? Oh, you can't? You should follow and meet someone else. Yuri? That's the problem. I don't want anyone else other than you. I don't want to be with anyone else. I just wanted to be with you, Issei. I'm sorry. Yuri hugs Yuri tighter. The girl, knowing that Issei could not see her in the same way as the other girls, only made the decision for her. The girl just created a small knife with magic and pointed it at her neck. Yuri. Goodbye, Issei-kun. The albino girl only stabbed herself in the heart, leaving Issei in a shock. At that moment a magic circle appeared showing Issei's other companions, and everyone saw the scene. The scene showed Yuri with a knife stabbing her heart. Issei, why Yuri? She said in shock. Yuri? Goodbye, Issei, see you in, she said, releasing some tears and closing her eyes little by little. The boy was left alone in the green grass while his blood changed the green color of the grass to a crimson red. All, Yuri. Issei tried to use her white flames to heal Yuri's wound, but it was too late. The albino's body was lying on the ground, while the chest piece that belonged to Rias came out of her chest, fully demonstrating that she had died. Rias just took Yuri's piece and fell to her knees, seeing one of his friends dead on the floor. The girls only cried when they saw Yuri dead on the ground, and the boys only clenched their fists and lowered their heads, releasing tears. Issei only saw the stricken body of her friend on the ground and hugged her while she cried. Issei. Boba. Sniff. No. I won't let you go that easy, he said, standing up and taking out the knife from her chest. Issei, I am the one who dominates the heavens. Saying that, Lin took the form of her sword and appeared in Issei's hand. I will defeat my enemies with my strength, and I will defeat the enemies of this world with my fire. I destroyed the darkness with my light, and I laugh at hate and pain. I am the king of the archangels and god of creation, and you will burn in my eternal flames that will burn your sins. Issei. Knight of creation. Issei took his god of creation signature again, and only created a magic circle around Yuri. What are you going to do? Pibba, I don't know. But I think she's going to. Save her. You're that soul that lost its sanity due to betrayal, ordered you to be reborn as a new person and to live your life without any regrets. Yuri's body only began to rise into the air as a very bright white light covered Yuri's body. As the light faded, a Yuri could be seen, but her body and appearance had changed a lot, and now she had 2 pairs of angel wings on her back, along with a beautiful white dress. Issei returned to her normal form as she carried Yuri in her arms. Issei's companions were just shocked to see what their friend had done. Not only did he revive Yuri, but he also changed and modified her body, turning her into an angel. Issei just left Yuri on the ground while she opened her eyes little by little. When the girl opened her eyes, she only saw Issei's face crying with happiness when she woke up. Yuri? What? What happened? She said, something confused. Issei only upon hearing those words hugged the albino with all her strength while she cried. Issei? You're a stupid crazy woman. A fool, a fool, a fool, while she hugged Yuri. Yuri, upon feeling Issei's strong hug, just smiled and also returned the hug while her wings extended and also covered both of them. Issei's companions only ran to hug the albino who was next to Issei. Rias? Boba. Sniff. What the hell were you thinking while she hugged Yuri tightly? Asia, Yuri-san? Sniffed. Please don't do something like that again, she said, she crying while she hugged her friend. Issei's other classmates also hugged Yuri, including Rainer, since he felt bad about all the ugly things she had said to him. Guys. What happened? I'm not dead. Issei? No, I revived you and gave you a new body. Looking at Yuri. Yuri? So that means I can be with you now. Looking at Issei. Issei, I think so. Well, by giving you a new body you are a virgin again, so it is as if that never happened, he said, referring to Issei's betrayal of her. Yuri? Issei-kun, she said, she taking Issei by the cheeks and kissing him. Yuri was finally able to remember that quality feeling that she had forgotten. She remembered what true love was. At the end of the day, everyone returned home happy that Yuri had not died. Rias also tried to make her part of her entourage again, and in the end she became a half-demon angel by Ria's part. Now you can see Issei in her bed calmly, but then they touch her leg, drawing her attention. Yuri, Issei-kun, I can pass knocking from the other side of the door, Issei. Of course it happens. The albino girl opened the door, showing that she had very provocative pajamas with lace that made Issei blush. Yuri. See, can I sleep with you today? Issei. As sure, come. Moving the girl aside, the girl lay down next to Issei, And although they both couldn't sleep, Yuri was the one who had to take the initiative, and she just turned around and kissed Issei. Issei, already seeing what she wanted, only kissed her back while she subtly touched Yuri's body. Issei. Yuri, is this what you want? Seeing the albino. Yuri? Yes, I always wanted it. Please take me and make me yours forever, she said, opening her arms. Issei started kissing and touching the girl's breasts. Issei had definitely gained a fetish with large and small breasts. Lemon skipped, please read it on website. Issei only gave one last push before spraying all of her essence into Yuri. Issei at the end of the night only fell married along with Yuri, and they both slept peacefully hugging each other. Part 28, Solving Problems. Today you can see and sleeping with Yuri hugging him. After the night of fun they had last night, they have both been a little closer, and Yuri has been much happier. Time skip. Issei can be seen with his other companions having breakfast peacefully. Elle and Reiner adapted really quickly and have gained the trust of the others, not all, but enough so that they are not distrustful or already preparing an attack for them. Ethan, Yuna and Lily also liked both girls, and Ethan had told his father that if they fall in love with him, there is a good chance that the timeline will change, not in a bad way. But maybe he will have more sisters in the future, which made him happy, but at the same time somewhat uncomfortable since he hardly had any privacy, and by getting more sisters that privacy would perhaps disappear completely. Issei also spent time with his children having fun and playing, but at that moment a magic circle appeared in the middle of the patio of Issei's house, where the leaders of the factions came out with Eitan. Rias? Anisama? Asia? Azazel-sensei? Hela? Father? Azazel? We hope we haven't interrupted something. I say? No, but what are you doing here? Sertsix? We need help for an important mission, I say. What's happening now? He already said lack of his problems. Azazel? Don't worry, we don't need your help, we need her help, pointing at Hela. All. Hela? Hela? And what exactly do you need my help for? Azazel? It's about the last talk we had. We haven't interrupted your life, so you have to fulfill your part of the deal by helping us. Ella. Well, I guess that's what I like. Issei takes care of Rainer-chan for me, she said, walking towards the leaders. Issei? Hela, getting the goddess's attention, remembered to come home, he said with a smile. Hela. Hi, she said, returning the smile along with a small blush. After that the leaders disappeared with Hela in a magic circle. Change of scene. The leaders can be seen appearing on a snowy peak surrounded by angels and demons. Michael? I see you're back, he said, entering the scene. Azazel? Nothing has happened, right, Michael? Fortunately not. Heli's, and maybe she's right. Maybe the relic plus that book is needed. Sergius? I see. Do you think destroying the place will fix it? Michael? That's what I would like to think, but I'm really not sure. But to be honest, God put an end to this in his early years. I don't know how he did it, although I asked my brothers for help to investigate it. Hela. So if you already have the place and the relic, why do you need me? The leaders at that time saw Hela seriously and responded. Azazel. We think your ancient curse has something to do with this. Hela. My curse. Do you think Loki used it for his future research? Azazel. That's right. We think that's why he gave you the relic. He already planned this. He said seriously. Hela? And why, Azazel? The place has a barrier that repels supernatural beings. Loki couldn't have entered even if the Tri's seal. Cough. Even though he is an evil god, we believe that only humans are allowed to enter. Hela. And why don't they call a human, or do they ask Issei to break the barrier? The black flames from it can destroy seals easily. Michael. The aura of this place would easily corrupt humans and turn them into slaves. It is best to keep them away from there. And about Issei, because we do not want to involve him in this, we prefer to give him a rest and let him spend time with his children before let them go. Ella. And what can they do then? He said you would be, and with his arms crossed, Azazel. We already have a backup plan for that, he said with his typical smile. You can see Issei having breakfast with everyone. But in this case it was different, since the lowly Nico is on Issei's lap and very close to him. Issei. Kaneko, are you okay? Looking at the Nakoma, somewhat surprised by her behavior, Kaneko. Issei-kun, I love you, she said, kissing Issei. Akino. Era seems like Kaneko-chan is very affectionate today, fufufu. Asia? It's not fair, I want it too, said hugging Issei. Issei scent smells very good today. The girls little by little were going to hug Issei. Issei didn't care since he really liked that they were affectionate with him. But he found the Nekoma's very attached attitude strange. Time skip. Now you can see Issei playing video games in the living room with Kiba and Yu, while Gasper played with Ethan, Yuna and Lily. But on Isei's chest, there was a Kaneko still hugging Issei, and the girl for some reason was blushing and breathing a little hard. Issei. Kaneko, are you sure you're okay? Touching her forehead, you're all red and hot, you're not sick, right? He said innocently, Honiko? Issei? I want the loli couldn't finish as the doorbell rang, and Issei went to see who she was. Issei opened the door and saw Sergiches and his wife and silver-haired maid. Issei? Hello, it's the first time you're knocking on the door like normal people. It must be a very special occasion, right? Looking at both. Sergiches. Well, when they are more serious topics, I use magic circles, he said with a smile. Rias. Anisama, what are you doing here? Sergiches. Rias greeting his sister. Well, I want to talk to you about something. Issei. Did something happen with Hella? Sergiches. No, she continues to help us, this is another matter. Issei. And what issue is that? Sergiches. It would be better to discuss this in a more private place. Saying that, the boys went to one of the VIP rooms of the large mansion to talk more privately, and obviously, Issei's friends went with him to be aware of the matter they would talk about. Issei. I didn't know that we have these types of rooms here, seeing a meeting room. Rias. Well, it is made specifically for this type of issues. Issei. And why did they build things without telling me? He said, watching Rias look away while he whistled Daikino. Whispering Buchu, this won't be a problem to stop the construction of the Hexaval dungeon, right? Rias. Whispering, of course not, just don't tell him, and we'll be fine. Sergix. I apologize for doing this kind of thing without your permission, Issei, but it was already in the construction plans, and no one will be able to hear us here. Issei. Sigh. Well, what's going on? A new enemy, Sergix? No, it's because of the promotion of Ria's pieces. EU, Izara, Yudo and Akino will be promoted to high class, you didn't forget, right? Looking at those mentioned, you the truth. Giba. We totally forgot about it, he said with an hour of sweat on the back of his neck. Graphia? Well, you will have a week for the promotion test to be taken. I suggest you train and study about the 72 pillars, culture of demons, etc. Izara? What opened an exam? Graphia? Yes, so I hope they get stronger, she said a little. Issei. Well, good luck, guys. Kiba and Iwa. Shut up. After that, Sergiches and Graphia left and the boys just continued with their daily lives, except that Izara, Kiba, Yu and Akino started studying for their promotion. Change of scene. We watch as Michael, Azazel and Odin talk in a military tent about their unresolved issue. Michael? I still think giving him the relic is a bad idea. Azazel? Do you have a better idea? If we continue to delay, we will only give Loki more advantage in the future. The faster we destroy the place, the better, he said. Seriously, Michael? What do you think, Odin plus Dano? He said, looking at the one-eyed god. Odin? Certainly giving him the relic is a sole idea, but I confirm it for 2 reasons. Michael. And those are they? Odin. The first is that she didn't use the relic when she left Helheim, and the second, she is in love with the boy Azazel. True. The harem king never leaves anyone unconquered, but hey, hurry up, he said, standing up and leaving the store with the others. When they left the store, they only entered another one that was used as a dining room and saw the goddess having some hot chocolate. Hella, it took a long time looking at the leaders. Azazel? Well, we had to discuss something. After finishing their hot chocolate, the leaders and Hella went to a very narrow cave where there were animal corpses around. Hella, it's just as Loki described it, she said, looking around. Michael? Do you think it works? looking at Azazel. Azazel, it will work, he said, giving the relic to Hela. The goddess lifted the relic, and it shined, making contact with the barrier. The goddess, feeling the power of the relic, launched a large bolt of lightning at the barrier, which turned gray and cracked. The goddess, seeing that, does not care much, and she returned the relic to Azazel. Odin, did Loki tell you what was inside? Looking at Hela. Hela? Yes. But you like what's inside, he said while looking inside the cave. He also said something about a book. If they are going to destroy the cave, make sure that book is destroyed. Michael, book? Odin? I only heard rumors. I never believed it was true, he said seriously and sweating a little. Azazel, anyway, take the book and destroy the place. Lyko? Take the book. Shouldn't we destroy it there? Azazel, we shouldn't leave any trace of him, and the best way to ensure that is to do it in person. Michael? And for what? Azazel? Think about the future, Michael. Time skip next day. Issei can be seen in the courtyard of his house with all of his companions and leaders, while issei saw the book that he had to destroy. Issei. While pulling black flames from his hand, I hope this works. The boy just turned on the book and little by little it disintegrated until nothing was left. The boy only saw how only ashes remained, and the leaders along with the others calmed down to see what worked. Azazel? Gentlemen, ladies, it was a pleasure saving the world with you, so with your permission, I haven't slept in 78 hours, so I'm leaving, he said, disappearing in a magic circle. Surzex? Yes, me too, I'm leaving. Bye, guys, looking like it. Everyone said goodbye and went to their respective homes. Issei. Well, a problem solved, he said, wiping his hands. Ethan? Yes, Odo-san. We can now return to our time peacefully, he said happily. Issei. Yes. But for now, carrying his son, we'll have fun. What do you think? He said happily and looking at his son. Ethan? Hey, I'm Skip. After a few days you can see Ethan, Yuna and Lily in their time machine that had a very strong resemblance to that of a series that begins with D and ends in Z. Ethan? Goodbye, Odo-san. Oka-san, he said, looking at issei and Rias. Una? Goodbye to Oka-san, said, hugging Yui. Lily? Goodbye, hugging Lin. The three children just hugged their father and each of their mothers before leaving. Rias? We will miss you, sniff Ethan. Don't cry, Oka-san, after all, we'll see you in the future, he said happily. Rias? Hi. The three children got on the machine, and it began to rise until it disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yes, say. Goodbye, son. Looking at the sky, scene changed 25 years in the future. Ethan can be seen arriving at a completely destroyed place. A place completely bathed in flames and blood. Ethan? It hasn't changed, looking around what's happening. Just then the laptop opens and Loki emerges from the portal with an arrogant smile. Loki. Hello, brat. I see you've arrived well. Good. Because Hela surely already took the book, and when I opened it, it served as a sacrifice to pay my debt to the gods, he said, while looking for the cave where Hela's corpse should be. He desperately searched for the cave, and after retracing his steps, he saw a place full of vegetation and saw how several rich ones were on top of each other, and he identified it as the cave. Ethan, I'm sorry, Loki, but my father, along with the leaders, destroyed the book years ago, he said with a smile. Loki? No, that damn hybrid, you, looking at Ethan, damn brat. Ethan? You already lost, Loki. Loki? Not yet, I can still give them as an offering, even a brat like you, he said, throwing it at the boy to catch him. Before the Norse god could even touch Ethan, a special tentacle came out of nowhere and grabbed Loki. Loki? Nu, or let me go. I will offer you a sacrifice, but let me go. Nu, several voices said in unison, but they sounded somewhat distorted. Your existence will cause a paradox, and you have not fulfilled your part of the bargain either. Loki? If there is a paradox, then it means we never made a deal. You shouldn't be on this plane. We know it. But that is still a problem. The Time Lord allowed me to go to this plane just to take what is mine. He would avoid a misfortune, and I have what I want, he said with mockery. Loki? I thought you wanted domination of this world and people. madness and chaos. The old gods rising again. The old gods no longer have power over me. I only do this for fun. One day I will reach this plane on my own, but for now I will have fun with you, he said mockingly, but with an evil voice. Loki? No, he screamed as he was pulled into the cave. The cave exploded into millions of pieces, and the ground along with the space around Ethan was destroyed. Ethan? What's going on? At that moment a warning from the time machine sounded. Empty attention, current timeline being destroyed. Please enter the machine. Ethan just entered the time machine, and his sisters took their human form while he saw the notification that the machine gave them. Una? What's wrong, Lily? Yes, MT. By changing Loki's paradox, the timeline is taking its original form. Rewinding. Inserting data for time jump in 3. 2.1. The machine just rose and prepared to jump and disappeared. After a few minutes, Ethan had arrived at a forest full of vegetation and beautiful flowers. Ethan, where are we? Una? I think we're home. The boys just got out of the machine and looked around. After a while the boys put away the time machine, returning the tiny one with some magic, and went home. When they arrived they only saw a beautiful and large mansion, and when they entered they saw many girls, Ethan's sisters, and there was more that he didn't know about. Ethan? Oh, we're home. The girls turned to see the boy, and some came out to hug him. After the boy talked to them, Ethan just looked for his father, and saw him in the yard wearing glasses while he read a book. Ethan? Odo-san? He said, looking at Essie. Essie? Hello, son, how are you doing? Said happily. Ethan alone shed some tears to see his father again, and the albino returned the hug. Ethan? I miss you so much. S.A. Come on, son, nothing happens. Besides, I was the one who spent several years being squeezed by Rias so that you were born, don't you remember? He said, winking at the boy. S.A. just smiled and hugged his father again. Ethan? Odo-san, there are more girls in the room than I remembered. Issei? Well, apparently after you traveled back in time to avoid the Loki paradox. I have had more wives and daughters these years. Ethan? I understand. Issei? Come on, let's go. I'll explain it to you while we eat a couple of ice creams. What do you think? Ethan? Hey, I'd love to. Both albinos went to eat some ice cream Wednesday after Essie explained to his son who his other wives and sisters are. Part 29, An Unexpected Guest. The day was a day like any other. The birds were singing, and the Qua Academy students were very animated. Apparently, Yuri's change attracted a lot of attention, but nothing very unusual for Issei's life. Azara, Yu, Kiba and the others were congratulated by Sona and her entourage on her promotion, and although they were a little more stressed about why they would have to study the double, it was nothing they couldn't handle. Sona? Hello Issei-kun, she said happily, looking at Issei. Issei? Hello Sona-chan, he said, giving her a nice kiss. How is he doing with my favorite president? Sona. Very good, and I am very happy for the promotion of your friend, she said happily. Tsubaki? Hello Issei? How are you doing, she said a little nervously. Issei? Hello Tsubaki-san, and very good, thank you for asking, he said happily and respectfully. Sona's entourage has been talking a lot with Issei. Apparently they took to heart about having children with him, and now that was his mission to give birth to Issei's children. Time skip. The days passed peacefully, but Issei was worried about one thing, and that is that Kaneko has been very attached to him, and that she always blushes when she is close to him. Issei just put that aside and moved on with his life, but Issei wasn't the only one who cared about Kaneko. I'm Skip Night. Issei can be seen playing video games in the middle of the night as always, but the albino hears his door open, and then he sees Kaneko wearing very revealing pajamas while her cat ears and tails are outside of her. Issei. Keikanko. Why are you wearing pajamas like that? Kaneko. Issei-kun. I want, she said while she blushed and climbed on Issei. I want to have kittens with you, Issei-kun, she said, kissing the albino. Issei. What's wrong with Kaneko? The boy was about to let himself be carried away by the loli's caresses and kisses, But then the door was abruptly opened by Rias and the other girls. Rias? Now catch her. Seeing that, the Nico jumped and dodged the girls all over the room to avoid being caught, but some chains made of shadows by Yui trapped her. Kaneko. Naya, let me go. Issei-kun, let's have kittens, he said, trying to free himself from the chains that held them. Rias. I'm sorry, Kaneko, but it's for your own good, he said while applying a spell on Kaneko, making her sleep. Issei. Girls, what's going on? Why did they put Kaneko to sleep? Rias. So I will explain it to you when Azazel-sensei arrives. Time skip, Issei. Kaneko is in heat. Azazel? Yes, like every cat, when her body develops enough to have children she enters a mating state, but in Kaneko's case, she has not matured enough. S.A. Mature. Azazel. Her body is not yet fully mature. Hers can have a child at this age, she and the baby could die. S.A. I understand. Rias. Is this trying to contain you? S.A. Hey, don't look at me or tell me as if I were the one who jumps over you to do it. Or maybe you don't remember that most of you tried to gate me while I was sleeping, he said, looking at his girls, some of whom looked away, and he was blushing because of what the boy said. Doctor. Demon doctor. But this is very unusual. She reached this stage early. Maybe something triggered in her and made her think about reproducing early. Yes. She asked me what it was, she said, looking at the twins and Ravel, who blushed and looked away. Azazel? By the way, kid, would you mind if I bring someone to stay with you for a couple of days? Isa. For what or what? Trias? Visits. Azazel? Something like that. But these visitors could cause some problems, he said a little nervously. Esau. And why don't you take those visitors to your house, genius, Azazel? Because she specifically requested that she wanted to stay here. Issei? What? She, Azazel? You'll understand, just don't try to kill each other. Time skip. Next day, Issei's doorbell rang announcing that Azazel had arrived with his guests, and the albino opened the door and looked at a gothic loli that was very familiar to him. The office. Hello, Issei. Hi, you do? We meet again, he said, looking at Issei. Issei, don't buck with me, he said with his hand on his head. You better explain this quickly, Azazel, he said, looking at Azazel, who was next to the loli. Azazel? Well. The crow couldn't speak since a platinum-haired girl jumped on top of Issei and gave him a deep kiss. Valerie? Hello, Issei-kun, how are you doing? He said as he looked into Issei's eyes. Issei? Okay, now I need to know what's going on. Change of scene. Issei can be seen in the VIP room with her other companions, while she seriously looked at Office, Valerie, Kuroka, LeFay, Baiku, and Arthur. Issei? Well, why are they here? Weren't they our enemies and terrorists? Azazel. Well, let's say that Office has an interest in Essie. Essie's girls hugged him possessively, and he looked at Office in a bad way. Oh. He is ours, Essie. Sigh, she came just so we could dance. Well, let's just go to a place where we can fight in peace, he said, standing up. Arthur. Don't you know fear, boy? He said, looking at Essie. Essie? I was born scaring fear, he said, looking at Arthur with a mocking smile. The loli just stood up and started looking and smelling at Essie as if he were a small dog. The office. You are very interesting, boy. You are not even afraid of me at all. This generation is very interesting. The Hekyuko and the Securyut also have great power, but I don't know how they compare to you, he said, looking at Issei. Every time the world has cons against you, you save them, you break the mold and surpass everyone's expectations. Issei. Thanks, I guess, Diamat. Are you planning to have Issei-sama as offspring too? Office. Babies. Diamat. Of course, he is a very strong male, and he is also a god, and not like the arrogant ones of today. He is special, and apparently, Hikryukyo also wants his children. The office? Hey Drag, weren't you in a relationship or something with Tiamat? Don't you mind if I steal one of your females? Dreg, not really, in fact it took a big weight off my shoulders, and I am indebted to the boy for fixing that problem too. Thanks, boy. Issei. Shut up, Dreg, she said, somewhat irritated by hearing the dragon mocking him. Azazel? Well, leaving that aside. Issei, I want them to stay here for a few days, he said seriously. Rias? You're crazy, they are terrorists. You know that they could accuse us of treason for this, right? Azazel? That's why I didn't tell anyone about this. Plus, I'm doing this because there is a slight possibility that Office and Valerie will leave Cow's brigade, and if I have to risk it, I will do it. Issei. Sai, you are a suicidal wolf. I like that, they can stay, but only with 3 conditions. The Office. And those are they? They say, first, you will not cause problems, nor would you try to attack my friends. Second, if you make a mess in my house, I hope you fix it before I see it, or I will kill you. And third, I don't want any of you to try to kidnap someone, or that you two, pointing to Baiku and Arthur, don't try to seduce my girls. Understand all? Hi. After that talk, Valerie's team was divided throughout the house. Kuroka and Lefei went to the pool. Baiku went to the refrigerator to eat something with Arthur and Office, and Valerie spent their time close to Issei. Time skip. Now you can see Issei playing video games with Office. Apparently, Dragon Lily was completely captivated by Issei's video games and liked to play them with Albino. Office. This control does not work, he said, throwing the controller to the ground. Issei. Yes, that's simply what losers say, she laughed, while the loli made a tender pout to see how Issei made fun of her. The Office. Again, let's go again, he said, taking control. They both began to play again, but on Issei's sword, there was a somewhat restless Kaneko smelling Issei's body. Kaneko? Issei-kun? Ah, she said somewhat desperately. I see. Sweet Kaneko, she said, taking out a chocolate bar and throwing it, making Kaneko catch it and eat it. Kuroka? Era, it seems that Shuran is in her mating season, she said, mating with Leif. I see. Yes, I have to give him sweets to distract him and calm down. But it's nothing serious, she said without taking her face off the game. Kuroka? Fufufu, do you want me to help you, Shiran? She said with an evil smile. The older Nico jumped on Issei while she tore off his shirt, revealing her marked body, causing Kuroka, Faye, and Valerie to blush as she saw it from the other couch. Kuroka? Not bad, Fufufu. It seems like the girls won the lottery with you. Paniko? Issei? She said she's starting to kiss Issei. Issei? Shit, I can't, and even less here. The boy just snapped his fingers and chains trapped Kaneko and Kuroka, preventing them from touching him. Kaneko. Issei-kun, I want you, kitten, she said, trying to get rid of more chains. The albino loli tried to escape, but she was put to sleep by a black smoke that entered her nose. Kuroka. Wow, Shiren is really looking forward to Fufufu. But hey, I know she can't get pregnant at that age, so you can let me go now. She was just playing. Issei released Kuroka and left Kaneko sleep on the couch. Issei? Damn, could you not joke like that, Kuroka? Kuroka? Hey, let me have some fun, she said with a mocking smile. At that moment, Issei hears a camera flash sound and sees Faye and Valerie taking a photo of Issei's abdomen. Issei? Hey, delete that. Valerie, I don't know what you're talking about, she said, playing dumb in you, Faye. But Faye. Nope, nothing at all, Issei. So it's going to be a long day. Time skip. After a few hours, you can see all the boys eating in the dining room while some were talking. Izara and Valerie were arguing, while Drake and Albion were talking, and the others were just doing their thing. Izara, our son didn't know we had so many guests, he said, watching Baiku and Arthur devouring the food. They say yes, it's Azazel's request, and well, here we are seeing Isaura next to Valerie fighting. Baiku? It's delicious, Mrs. Hayata, he said happily. Arthur? Can you please give us more? Becerra? Of course, there is a lot for everyone, eat as much as you want. Issei, along with his other classmates and guests, say it, and enjoyed their day at Issei's house. I'm Skip. Now Issei can be seen entering his room, but when he opens it, he sees a blue-haired dragon changing. Tiamat. Hello, Issei-sama said, watching Issei enter. What? You like what you see? He said with a mocking smile. Issei. Tiamat, what are you doing in my room? Tiamat? Well, I like your smell, So sometimes I lie naked in your bed, she said innocently. Essie? Sigh, I'm going to ignore what you just said, he said tiredly. Essie only entered his room, but little by little he began to smell a somewhat strange smell. That smell invaded his nose and made him a little dizzy. Issei. What is this smell? He said, something dizzy. Tiamat? Wow, said hugging Issei's sword. I think those are my pheromones, said in a mocking tone. The little Nakomata I think stuck it to me, and now I'm going into heat. Issei. What? The boy did not finish speaking since he felt the blue-haired dragon's lips join his. Tiamat, don't worry, Issei-sama, I'll be gentle. After all, it's my first time, he said with a somewhat evil smile. Tiamat just laid Issei on his bed and began to kiss and caress him, letting his dragon hormones invade Issei's mind. Issei just sent everything to hell, and he also began to touch the dragon's voluptuous body, making her moan. Lemon skip, please read it on website. Issei just sighed tiredly, although he was much more relaxed now. Issei got dressed and went down to the living room again and saw Office still playing video games and the other girls playing a strange game that they nicknamed Issei's body domination. You don't have a chance. Assie's body is all mine, and now when I beat you, I will claim it as mine, she said with a mocking smile as she looked at Valerie. Valerie? No. How is it possible? I was winning. My dragons. Rias? Your dragons are no match for my best card. Exodia appears. Valerie? No. Issei only saw that with a bead of sweat on the back of his neck, since he felt that all the girls had lost against Rias, and the only ones left standing were Yui and Lin. Issei only returned with Office, although she noticed a slight change in smell on Issei's body. Office? Sniffing, what happened to your scent? Essie. Office. Before you had more hormones, now they seem to have calmed down. What happened to you? Essie. I just took a relaxing shower, maybe that's what it was. Office. Well, do you want to continue playing? Issei. Sure, I hope that in these hours that I wasn't there I do better. Office. You won't know what hit you, she said, looking at Issei with a smile. They both just continued playing, and at the end of the day Arias was the one who won, so she could go to bed tonight with Issei. Heart 30 Unexpected surprise. The day was a nice and beautiful day. In a couple of days it would be Azara, Kiba, Yu and Akino's test. Issei didn't really think that was a big deal, since he thought it would just be a simple exam like in schools. After a while, you can see Issei waking up little by little, and the boy felt great warmth and softness, and when he opened his eyes completely, he saw that he was asleep between Rias and Tiamat's breasts. Apparently, the dragon went to bed silently when they were both asleep. Issei, yawn, I think it's time to wake up, he said, trying to get up, but a hand stopped him. Tiamat? Come on, Issei-sama, stay a little longer, she said, lying down with Issei again. Issei. Were you awake, Tiamat? Well, let's say that it was very difficult for me to sleep since yesterday I slept almost all day because of what we did, he said in a flirtatious way. Issei? You were the one who attacked me with your dragon pheromones. Tiamat? Yes, but you were the one who didn't stop until I fainted from pleasure, she said, caressing Issei's head. Issei? Sigh. Okay, but it's time to get up. Remember that we have guests, he said, getting up and changing his clothes. I'm Skip. Issei got up and prepared breakfast for everyone, and after everyone got up and ate Issei's delicious breakfast, everyone returned to their usual activities, and those in summary were doing nothing. Issei. Today seems like a nice day, he said, seeing the completely blue sky along with Hella and Rainer. Hella. Yes, I never get tired of seeing that beautiful sky. Rainer? Issei-kun, how about we go have fun today? She said excitedly. Issei. I would like to, but we still have Valerie's team here, he said while looking at Baiku, who was trying to fight Cerberus and Garm, but in the end both dogs trampled him and then left. Sai. Didn't you tell him to leave them alone? He said, looking at Hella. Hella. I told him, but that Baiku is still upset because Garm snatched the sandwich from him. Brainer. Well, how about we all go so no one will cause problems? I say. Well, it's not a bad idea. she said, analyzing what the girl said. Well, that's fine, so Office will get away from the screen of her video game. I'm Skip. You can see all the kids walking through the streets of the city strolling and enjoying the day. Iku? Wow, what is that? She said, she pointing to a restaurant that said all you can eat issei. It's an all you can, they serve you a lot of food if you manage to do it all, you leave without paying. A coup? Perfect, come on Arthur, she said, entering the site with her friend, Valerie. And that? She said while seeing a large building of clothes. There he is. It's just a clothing and other things store. What? Would you like to come inside? Valerie? Well maybe, she said a little nervously. Albion? That would be good for you, mate. It's been a long time since you've done something feminine. Valerie? Shut up, Albion. The girls only saw that with a bead of sweat on the back of their necks and took Valerie inside the store, leaving only Essie and Office. The office? Well, what are we going to do? She said, she looking at Essie. Essie? Well, I think I have a place in mind, she said with a smile. The albino already took him to a clothing store so Office could change her outfit. The office. A clothing store. So that I say, obviously for you to change your clothes, the one you're wearing. It makes you look like an exhibitionist, Lolly. The office. Who are you calling exhibitionist, Lolly? For your information, I am much older than you, I say. Yes, of course. But please change. Some people look at you strangely because of how you dress, and some perverts can't stop seeing those soft things that cover your nipples. The girl, upon hearing that, just looked at Essie in a bad way, but she knew that she was right. The office? Well, she said in a bad way. I say, well, let's go, she said, taking Office's hand and entering the store. The boys came in and tried on various outfits for the Dragon Loli, and when they left, Office continued with her gothic style, but now she looked more like a girl than an exhibitionist. Office. I don't dislike these clothes at all, plus they are very soft and comfortable, she said, feeling her soft pink jacket. Issei. I'm glad you like it. Now you do seem like a normal person, although you look like a girl, he said, looking at Office while laughing. Office. I'm not a girl, I'm thousands of years old, she said, tenderly hitting Issei's chest. Issei? Yes, okay, well, let's go, taking Office's hands. Office? Where to? Issei? Believe me, you will like it a lot, she said with a smile. The Dragon Loli could only trust the albino, but she for some reason felt somewhat happy being with him. Like when they both played video games at home, she really liked Issei, and it seemed fun to be with him. Essie took Office to the paradise of video games, to an arcade where thousands of games wait to be tested by the Dragon Goddess. The office? Wow, what is this place, looking at the thousands of games, Essie? It's an arcade, here you can try many games without stopping, she said, looking at the Dragon Lily. The office? Yes. Come on, he said, taking Essie's hand and taking him with her inside. The office was delighted to see so many different games. The dragon, as she expressed, we are in the paradise of games. Essie was grateful since she claims to be more than 1,000 years old, but even so, she acts according to her height. Essie and Office had a good time playing and having fun, and with a large number of tickets they won, Office bought a stuffed dragon. According to her, it is a kind of trophy for the overwhelming victory in the games. Office. I've never had so much fun, she said happily. I say. Well, I'm very happy, but I don't believe you say that stuffed dragon you're carrying is just a trophy for you, right? Office. See, shut up, it's my trophy, it's just that, she said, something embarrassed. Issei? Yes, okay. The office. Don't laugh at me, she said, angry and hitting Issei. They both continued walking until they met up with the others. They both reached the giant building where the girls were, and they all came out, but behind them was a blushing Valerie with an outfit that didn't take away from her rudeness, but she seemed prettier than usual. Valerie? How do I look? She said, blushing and looking at Essie. Essie? You look beautiful, he said, somewhat embarrassed. The albino only blushed but smiled at the boy's comment. After that stop they went to look for Baiku and Arthur. Apparently Baiku had devoured all the food in the restaurant, and Arthur just bowed and apologized for his partner devouring all the food in the restaurant, and had basically left them bankrupt. The boys continued with their tour, but a certain ex-nun had noticed that 3 of her companions had not appeared all day. Asia? Hey, have you seen Kiba-san? Zenobia? Now that you mention it, we haven't seen you or Gasper either. Irina? Yes, he always likes to buy nice clothes with us, and this time he hasn't been with us. The friends and colleagues of those mentioned were looking for the missing boys, and at one point Issei found them inside a bar. But not just any bar, it was a bar for girls or older women. About that as MILFs. S.A. This is a girls' bar, seeing the sign for older women specifically. What the hell are they doing here? She said she, listening to the voices of the 3. S.A. entered without her other classmates noticing her so as not to cause them unnecessary embarrassment. When she entered, I could only see several hushy older women, trying to make them both more intoxicated than they already were, all except Gasper. WOMAN1. Come on, handsome, have one more drink, she said, giving another drink to you. WOMAN2. How cute you look with those clothes. But I'm sure you would look better without them. Don't you want to take them off? She said as she unbuttoned Gasper's shirt. WOMAN3. Come on, sweetheart, we just want to have fun tonight and relax. Whispering to Kiba with a seductive voice, could you help us relax? The 3 boys were blushing, and Gasper unfortunately decided to wear men's clothes that day. Issei was only laughing a little at the scene he saw, but quickly intervened before his companions were drunk and gaped by the women around them. Issei. Excuse me, ladies, getting the attention of all the women, but those are my friends, and now they are going to come with me. Every woman who saw Issei couldn't help but blush and lick her lips predatorily. Asper. Issei-senpai, he said, hugging Issei like a scared little child. I'm afraid of them. Let's go, Issei. It's okay, Gasper. We're leaving. WOMAN4. Oh, come on, handsome, stay with us. I assure you that you will have fun with us, she said, taking Issei by the chin, who didn't even flinch. Issei. I'm sorry, miss, each of you are very beautiful, and I am truly very honored that you are interested in me. But unfortunately, you already have many girlfriends, and they would be upset with me if I slept with any of you, he said, taking off the woman on top. You, brother. HIP. What are you doing here? HIP, Tiba. Issei. Hiccup. Issei. What am I doing here? A couple of idiots, they got carried away, and now they're drunk. Come on. The girls are waiting for us to go home, he said, starting to pick them both up. Tiba. Issei. HIP. I love you very much. HIC. I've never told you. HIC. BUT. I love you, friend. BU. Hip. ME. Too. I love you, brother. Hiccup. Issei. Yes, whatever they say, we're leaving, carrying them to the door. Issei took Gasper and the other 2 drunk friends to the exit, but suddenly the exit was closed and a purple barrier prevented him from leaving the premises. I'm sorry, handsome, but now you will be our food today, he said with a smile. Suddenly the women around were changing, their clothes faded and showed more revealing clothes while horns grew on them. The woman's appearance also changed and showed a woman with a body to envy. Her clothes were very revealing and she had 4 horns on the head. Issei. What was missing? Looking at the women around him, Sakub? It seems like you know the supernatural world, boy, and we also noticed that your 3 friends are demons. Who are they? Issei. Gasper. Esper? Hey, Esper's eyes glowed yellow, and at that moment none of the women could move at all. That? Issei. Well, leaving you and Kiba on the ground, you can call me. Snapping his fingers, making his battle suit appear, Shinigami-sama said with a smile. Seeing that one of the men they tried to seduce and use as food was one of the most dangerous mercenaries in the supernatural world was in front of them, the women turned pale. Essie and my 3 friends are part of the Gremory family's entourage, and you tried to use them as food. The women around only got even more scared when they heard that, so I have no choice but to close this business for life, said, taking out Blue Rose. Issei was ready to shoot, but at that moment a girl the same age as Issei stood in his way. No, please do not do it, Penyanda said in the middle of Issei, preventing the weapon from pointing at what seemed to be the leader of the Sukubi. Yuki, get out of here, said the leader of the Sukubi. Yuki? No, he couldn't let you die, Okaizen. Upon hearing that, Issei only saw them both. They had a great resemblance, and Issei also saw the determined but also somewhat scared eyes of the girl who was in front of him. Issei just sighed and lowered his weapon, and Gasper allowed them to move again. Issei? Yuki, right? He said, looking at the cute succubus girl. Yuki? Hi, she said, a little scared. Issei just walked up to her and stroked her head. Issei? You were very brave to try to protect your mother, she said, caressing her head while giving her a smile. The girl only blushed when she saw that smile, and she felt a little sad when she felt how Issei caressed her. Issei. Sigh, well, I guess it's better that we talk civilly, he said, looking at the other Sekipai who were still nervous. After a while, Issei sent a message to his girls to go home and that Issei would go home with his friends later. Issei. Well, what's your name, miss? She said, looking at the leader of the Sukubi. Elizabeth Saikub. Nice to meet you. Edo. Issei. Call me Issei. It's my pleasure, and she is your daughter, looking at the pretty girl next to the woman. Yuki? I'm Yuki Saikub. A pleasure, Issei-sama. Issei. Well, I'll tell you this, I leave. I don't want to hurt anyone, nor do I care how they make a living or how they feed themselves, but looking at the women around you, I don't want them to do something like that again. Elizabeth? Something like that? Issei, they were going to try to use us as food and surely rip out our souls, right? She said, looking at the woman. Elizabeth? Why, yes, sorry, she said sadly, Essie. As I was saying, I don't want you to do that again, to any man, much less try to gape him against his will like you had planned to do with us, understand? All. Hi, Issei. Okay. Now excuse us, we're leaving now. She said, taking you and Kiba, who were already passed out from drinking so much. Yuki? Edo. Wait, she said, stopping Issei. Issei? Yes. Yuki? Thank you for not killing anyone, Issei-sama. Issei? It's okay, but please control your mother and her friends so that something like this doesn't happen again, okay? She said with a smile. Yuki? Hi, I will do it, she said happily. Issei also smiled, and before leaving through one of her portals, he saw Yuki again. Issei? You know this place is very nice and pretty. Maybe I'll come back another day. Goodbye, she said, disappearing into a shadow. Yuki just smiled when she saw Issei walking safely with her friends, and for some reason she felt happy when she heard and saw Issei smile at her and tell her that she will control her mother for hers. Yuki. Oka sensed seeing her mother's. I hope this serves as a lesson to you about your method of feeding, Elizabeth. Hi, sorry daughter, she said sadly. I'm Skip Esiel's house mansion. Esiel came out of a shadow from the door of her house. Esiel just opened the door, and the first thing he saw was a knocked-out Baiku, while Cerberus and Garm bit him as if he were a bone. Esiel? Okay, now what happened? Ares? Hello, I see that you already brought Kiba. You and Gasper, looking at Gasper, who was behind Issei, still somewhat scared, and Issei was carrying his brother and friend Kiba. Hip, Buchu. HIP? Some. Sukubian turned us to gape. HIC, Biera, it seems like you were having fun, she said, looking at both drunk boys. Fiba and you? Hi, they said with a silly smile. Issei. Shut up, idiots, I had to save you from having your soul ripped out by your penis, idiots. I'm Skip. After Issei left them both in their respective rooms, Issei sat on her couch and asked about Baiku's condition. Issei. And what happened to him, seeing Baiku? Rias. Office knocked him out for making fun of her for telling her that she looked like a girl, she said, looking at the dragon who was still upset about that. Office. Idiot, she said, she's annoying. Asia? Issei-san? Kiba said that they were going to be gaped by Sakub. Irina? Yes. What happened? Issei. Sigh. It's a long story. Issei told them what happened at the succubus bar, and they were a little upset for trying to gape Issei and his friends. Master, and is he okay? looking and touching Issei's body to see if there was something wrong with him. Lin. Those Sukubi didn't touch him, right? Issei. Don't worry, they didn't touch me, but they totally drugged Kiba and Yusai, those two idiots. If I hadn't arrived in time, they would surely be completely dry corpses by now. Kuroka. Wow, Ice-kun couldn't have been seduced by those pretty succubi, he said looking at Yusai. A fae? It's impressive, he said looking at Yusai with stars in his eyes. Yusai. Well, I wasn't the only one, he said taking Gasper. Neither was he said happily. Jasper? The succubi are cute, but don't let me be seduced, she said, inflating her chest a little, somewhat proudly. The girls congratulated Gasper for that, but then asked him how they ended up there. Brias, by the way, how did you end up there? Jasper? Well, we were walking calmly, but one of those Succub took Kiba-senpai's arm and dragged him into the premises. Then you was seduced by other girls. And some women also tried to touch me. After a while they tried to make me drink. Issei-senpai appeared and saved us. Aikino. Era, Ice-kun is a hero, Kafufu. Issei. Well, if he didn't let me be seduced so easily by you, I highly doubt that they would be able to do it. He said simply. Sarah. Mu Oni-chan, you are bad, said hugging her arms with a pout. A cane? Yes, Oni-chan, you are bad, we are going to have to punish you, she said with a flirtatious smile. Issei? I'm sorry, but now I'm going to play video games with Office. Office? Yes, come on, he said happily. Issei. Hi, they both started playing, and although the girls didn't like them spending a lot of time together, they just let it go since it was Issei's mission to make him leave the Cows Brigade, and they thought that getting along was his plan. But they didn't know that Issei had totally forgotten about that, and was actually having fun with Office. Time skip night. Issei was in his room playing video games as always, but his door is opened by a blue-haired dragon. Issei only saw her, but blushed a little when he saw how she looked. Tiamat? Hello, Issei-sama, you know I'm bored, and I remembered last night, she said, approaching Issei. Don't you want to repeat it? Issei. Tiamat what? Issei couldn't finish since his door would open again and they entered Irina, Zenobia, Rias, Asia, Aquino, and Azara. Rias? Ice, it's very cold tonight. I want you to keep me very warm, she said, looking at Issei with a flirtatious smile while she was wearing very revealing pajamas. Aquino? Era, Ice-kun, tonight you will have company. I hope I didn't bother you, she said, entering with pajamas just as revealing as Rias. Asia? Issei-san, please, I want to do it tonight, she said, blushing at what she was saying. Zenobia, I want to do it now, so I hope you don't mind, she said, blushing too. Irina? Issei-kun, let's make babies together, okay, she said with a perverted smile and a blush. Azara? Oni-chan, please me tonight, she said with a blush and a perverted smile. Issei only backed away a little, but Yui and Lin took their human forms and pounced on Issei and began to kiss and undress him. Issei. Like I said, I'm difficult to seduce, but I'm not invincible. Issei just let himself go that night, and in the room that night, only moans, applause, and the sound of Lesebo's juices falling and spreading everywhere in the room could be heard. Part 31 Test. The day was the day of the long-awaited test. The boys who would take it were a little nervous. Issei would go with them to support them. Rias and her entourage would stay in a hotel not far from the place, while Hela, Rainer, and Tiamat stayed at home while they were basically not interested in that test. Rainer? Effort, Chico, she said goodbye. Hela. Good luck. Tiamat? Goodbye, Issei-sama, I will look forward to it, she said with a blush and a smile. Azazel? Well, let's go, he said, creating a magic circle to teleport you and the others to the place of the test. In another side, the boys had arrived at the place. Kiba was talking about the place where they would go to do the test, which would be a large stadium, but Issei was not very interested in that. Issei has been a little more distracted since Office arrived with Valerie and his group. It had happened well. In fact, he had become friends with Baiku and Arthur too. But thinking that in the future, their friendship would end and they would become mortal enemies, he didn't like it very much. The boys continued walking until the staff stopped them. Staff, Stop there to pass, they must. Issei. Don't tell me we have to do a mission or something to get in, he said, somewhat irritated. Kiba. No. We don't have to do that. The underworld doesn't work like that. Staff? To pass, you only have to show the seal of the family you belong to. Issei. Oh, sorry to play so many video games with Office. If he works for you for some things, he said with a little shame. Kiba only approached the staff and showed him his seal, making the staff let them pass, but not before the staff gave them a number. When they entered, they saw few people, but among those who were there were several races of all kinds, yakas, dragons, etc. The exam was easy for Akino, Kiba, you and Izara, since they only had silly questions like what is the Mayu's favorite clothes? Or how many times did you hit a monster and or supernatural species? Issei was thanked for one where he said, how big are the Mayu sisters' breasts? Issei showed the question to Rias and became enraged, hitting the examiner with several spells, while Issei wrote down exactly what Rias' breast measurements were for fun. After the written exam, they went on to the physical exam, which was to face a demon who was the examiner. Kiba and you passed the exam easily, thanks to the intensive training of Issei, who helped them a lot, and Akino and Izara just almost killed them. To the examiner, with some spells like that passing the test, the boys passed by normally, but Issei being in that place would obviously catch the attention of some, the emo N1. He is the mercenary most feared by the entire supernatural world, he said, looking at Issei. The emo N2. It can't be. This is amazing that he does here. BMO N3. I don't know, but I'll ask for an autograph. Several demons asked Issei for photos and autographs, but a question that one of them asked him caught him off guard and surprised him. BMO N4. Mr. Shinigami, could I ask you a question? I see. Of course, what happens? BMO N4. Is it true that you are the harem king? Issei only had a bead of sweat break out on the back of his neck, but Kiba and you quickly intervened. Kiba, that's right, and if you give us $10 he will give you advice so you can formalize yours, he said, looking at the demon. You? Yes, 100% effective. If you don't believe us, look over there, he said, pointing to all the girls. Each of them are his girlfriends. Why, okay, I won. Really, take my money and tell me how I can form a harem, he said, giving $5 to Kiba. Why, okay, I too. Me too? EMON1? And me? The participants of the place were only lining up for Issei to give them advice on how to form a harem, and after a few minutes the boys were about to leave, but one of the written exam examiners shouted loudly. Examiner, what is this? People only went to see what was happening, but everyone reacted the same. Examiner. This is perfect. I have never seen someone write with so much detail and precision. This is perfect. Gentlemen, we have finally achieved the perfect measurement of the Mouse sisters' breasts. Everyone? Hera, Tiba and you would just go crazy, and maybe Azazel and Issei would just turn pale, but laugh a little when hearing that. Issei? Arias? I don't he? The boy only saw the girl who little by little her crimson aura spread throughout the place, while she looked at Issei and the others in a bad way. Demons, jockeys and dragons who idolized the paper that said the exact measurements of their breasts. Rias? Ice. Baka, he said, throwing a large flame of fire towards Issei and the participants, making the paper burn and singe next to the participants and examiners, and Issei only covered himself with a wall made of shadows and tried to calm Rias down. Time skip. When the boys finished their tests they just went to rest and eat. The girls were eating while talking about their things, and Kiba and you were just counting the money they earned today. Kiba, 998.999. And 1,000, he said. He finished off against his money. You. It's not bad, we get $1,000 on a normal day. We should dedicate ourselves to this. They say, shut up, you two idiots, that money should be mine. I was the one who gave advice to those guys. You only received the money, he said, looking at both of them. Azazel? Yes, but I can't believe that they wrote the exact measurements of your girlfriend's breasts. Damn, what a shame I couldn't read it, he said mockingly. I say. I only did it as a joke. I didn't think they really expected a messiah to come to reveal one of the secrets that the entire society of demons and other species wanted to know so much. Asper? Yes, but it was funny when Bachu almost incinerated several of the demons, and you case who read that paper, he said, laughing a little when remembering that issei. Well, you're right, and tell me, Azazel, where is Office and Valerie's team? Azazel? They are in a cafeteria in front of this place. I hope that Alice influenced her. If the harem king conquers Office, it would be a relief for us and also for Valerie. Issei. I'm not going to do that, he said, looking at Azazel's side. Besides, we were just playing together and having fun. I don't think it's a big deal. Azazel? Well, with your luck you will soon conquer every species in this world, so don't give up, we are counting on you, he said, smiling and looking at Asahi. After a few dishes the boys were talking about their abilities and powers, and the girls seemed interested in the topic. Asia. Hey, Asahi-san, do you think it can make me stronger? Asahi. Well, your skills are already maxed out, but I think you can do a balance breaker if you try hard. Asia? Really? She said excitedly. Issei. Yes, I can even help you if you need it, she said, caressing Asia's head. Azazel? Now that I remember, you tamed a familiar spiked dragon. Well, maybe now it's small, but in the future, it will be the size of Tan, and she said, looking at the blonde Asia. Little Ras say? Really, Azazel? Yes, or well, that is what he created. Maybe in a battle you will call him like Issei does with Cerberus, so that he fights at your side. Issei? I didn't know Asia had a family member. There he is. I'm sorry, but you weren't there at that time, but if you want one, we can look for one. Issei. No thanks, I already have Cerberus. As the saying goes, a dog is a man's best friend, and when I created him for the first time we became best friends, she said with a smile. Kiba. Hey, what do you think Isei's future family member could be? It should be something really huge and powerful like Tiamat. Or maybe a girl. I see. Shut up, you're not helping. Greg. Hey, Fallen, have you done what I asked you a long time ago? Azazel? Yes. Why? Greg. Well, the boys should know, along with my partner and her brothers. Issei. Know what? Azazel? First, I want you to calm down. This will sound a little strange and uncomfortable. Sigh. Well, it's been a while now. Dreg has taken control of Izara's body and has come to my office asking to investigate something. Izara? What, Dreg? How do you take control of my body when I sleep? Greg? I think we got off topic, continues. Izara, don't change the subject to get away from answering. Idiotic dragon, she said angrily. Azazel? Well, for a long time now, Greg has felt a certain familiarity with Azura. Azura. Azura? Like familiarity, Azazel? Well, Greg. In one of their wild nights of Hex, Azara let out a little power, and you absorbed it like he was a sponge. Azara? Drake, I told you not to be spying when we do it, she said, even more angry and blushing at the revelation that Drake had seen and heard them having Hex through booster gear. Greg. Well, excuse me for worrying about you. I was just going to tell you about controlling your dragon instincts, and by chance at that moment you two were doing it. Azazel. I think we got off topic again. Well, the fact is that I took a bit of the DNA of both of them and their brothers to see what their roots were. Issei. Wait, exactly how did you take our DNA? Azazel? Well, flashback, you can see an Azazel dressed as a ninja entering Issei's house. That night Issei was having Hex with several of his girls. Azazel just sneaked to the bathroom and grabbed a little hair from Issei and his brothers, and then left completely, disturbed to hear the girls' moans and the various applauses. Then flashback, Azazel? You don't want to know. I say? Okay, I will ignore what you just said along with my question. Continue, he said, giving the floor to Azazel. Azazel? Well, Baraquil and I investigated and discovered that you and your sister have a great descent, coming from Europe, more specifically from a kingdom recognized by its ruler. Dreg. Please tell me what's not, Azazel? I'm sorry, Dreg, but yes. The land of Princess Catalina. Oh, any of your lovers, Dreg. Mother of Eren and one of the ancestors of Issei and Azara, he said seriously. All the boys were shocked by what the fallen man said. Issei? So you're telling me that Dreg is? Azazel? Yes, Drake is your great-great-grandfather, he said seriously, You have to be kidding, he said, looking at Drake with some disgust. Hey, don't look at me like that, young man. Hey, it feels good to say that, destroy her glove, but he was stopped by you and Kiba. Izara. So, Drake is my grandfather, and that of issei, you, Sarah and Akane. Azazel. I'm afraid so. Greg. Hey, I don't think it's that bad. After all, you're descendants of a great guy, right? I see. The cool guy who got sealed for fighting with his stupid friend. Or the cool guy who got most of his lovers killed because of him, and didn't keep his promise. Or wait, the bucking idiot who almost killed my sister and your carrier. Why did one of your failed promises come to exact revenge and I had to fix it? Greg, if you say it like that, you make me look bad. I say. I swear I'll kill you, I swear I'll kill you, he said, taking Yui again to break her sphere and kill him, but he was calmed down by the girls and boys. Azara. Well, and that's why Oni-chan and I have so much power. Azazel. Well, you already have a lot of power, but deep inside you there is true dragon blood. I love that it would perfectly explain his change in attitude towards Hex. Bikeno. Era, that sight of issei comes thanks to a few Dre genes, Lin. Most likely, perhaps his dragon genes manifest during spawning as a dragon, letting itself be carried away by his instincts. Dreg? You're welcome, kid. Issei, shut the buck up, Baikino. Era, so the part 1 like the most about Issei comes thanks to Dreg fufufu. Rias? It seems so. Issei. I feel more and more sick of myself, he said, touching his stomach, Bizarro. And then, that's why Oni-chan can absorb dragon power. Azazel. It's a possibility, maybe the dragon power doesn't work because Issei absorbs it for some strange reason, as if he will feed on it, he said, thinking, Buh. And we can't do that. Azazel? I'm not sorry, for some reason you don't have the same genes, apparently you lost them, replacing them perfectly with those of your parents. But Issei and Azara don't, they were able to keep them. Issei? But I'm adopted, how can that be? Azazel. Well, it's not the first time that someone's bastard son comes to light. Perhaps Saran had more descendants, and continued to pass from generation to generation until he passed to you and Azara. The boys were thinking about their own thing, but suddenly a purple cloud appeared and covered everyone present. Issei. Well, it's time for fun. Art 32 of False Hero. The boys were now alert as a purple mist that they all recognized appeared around them, covering them. Issei. It's time for fun. The purple fog after a few seconds had brought Office and Valerie's team, and when the fog cleared, they only saw Chow Chow in front of them, along with George Azazel. Well, what does the leader of the hero faction want? Chow Chow. What's not obvious? Issei? Not really, what? Are you here to get revenge for the other time I kicked your ass? How cow? Shut up, I didn't come for that, he said, walking towards the boys. Issei just stood in front of him looking at him seriously while his teammates stood on their guard, even Valerie's team. Leif? What is he doing here? Did the plan fail? All? Plan? Valerie? The plan was to disguise Officers Biku, trapping them as bait, but it seems we failed, he said, looking at Cao Garoka. I suspect it was more of that Naya, Issei. And what do you want then? Cao. Issei Hayadu, I want you to look carefully at what I'm about to do, he said seriously when he said to Issei. The man only pointed his spear at Office and stuck it in his belly. The spear after that began to shine. The glow was very intense, and did not allow him to see anything. Issei had to create a dome of shadows so that he could see both, and then in a few seconds, Issei removed the dome, revealing that the spear had left a large hole in the dragon Loli's stomach. Hao Kao only took out his spear, revealing the large hole that had been left in the Loli's stomach more clearly, but she was not bleeding on her own. He remained motionless as if he did not feel any pain. Hao Kao, now you see the level she has. If she had wanted she would have killed me before my spear had touched her. You are very. The man could not finish speaking since he saw to Issei playing with his cell phone. Idiot is listening to me, he said angrily. Issei, not really, and I don't really care. If you just came to show us this taking out Blue Rose, then it's time for you to leave or die, he said with a smile. Before issei shot a white-haired girdle, he stopped him. Valerie? Cow, that you come only with one person makes me think that you are brave and stupid, he said, looking at the hero. Issei? In short, a conceited man. Cow? I don't blame you for seeing me that way. If I were you, I would do it too, but let me tell you that right now George is enough, he said with an arrogant smile. Valerie? You look very confident. Cow, did you get the so-called Dragon Eater? Well, I guess you would never risk it without your Dragon Slayer powers, he said mockingly and wisely calling him a coward. Cow. I see that you managed to get some information. It's a shame it's incomplete, he said with a mocking smile. Valerie? What? Cow. You see, the Dragon Esther is the code that we put on an already existing thing. I would like to thank the biblical God for creating such a being, he said with a somewhat crooked smile, while Zenobia and Irina were annoyed by his comment. Also, having 3 dragons here will make it easier, referring to Office, Valerie and Azara. When George finished speaking, he only created a magic circle on the ground, and from that circle, a sprouting figure emerged along with a macabre aura. From the circle came a sad, macabre figure, filled with anger, as if a person had suffered thousands of evils and right now will manifest itself. The figure that came out looked human, but its wings showed the opposite. Its feathers had been torn off by force, and his entire body was full of nails as if he had been crucified, and he also had a symbol that all over his body. His eyes were covered by a bandage, but the bandage had blood on it, implying that this thing did not have eyes. That thing only gave the boys thought the scene couldn't get any worse, but obviously, they were wrong. Seeing the lower part of his body left them speechless. The lower part of his body was that of an aquatic dragon, but it was missing scales and had a lot of blood. His body was just all malnourished. His appearance only made him sad, but that thing showed the opposite. He showed his thirst for blood, anger, and revenge, and everyone could feel it clearly. Asia and Kaneko just looked away, and Gasper just hid behind Kiba with his eyes closed so as not to see that thing. Everyone was alert, and Issei only saw that thing seriously, but something in his body made him feel bad, as if upon seeing it a part of him regretted it, as if he were the cause of all the pain and suffering that person or creature would have suffered. But a certain crow was looking at the creature somewhat scared. Azazel? It's impossible to bring someone from Hades like that. That thing should be in the 9th circle, he said looking at the creature. Issei? Wait. 9th. Are you talking about the 9th circle of hell? Shouldn't that be in the jurisdiction of demons? Azazel, the underworld is not only used for demons. There are sections for human souls, there are others and many creatures sealed in the depths of that place. It is said that there is a god of poison. It is said that there is a duo with evil interests. A forbidden being who made Adam and Eve eat the grotto of knowledge in Eden, the first crime that just the God of the Bible, and his suffering still continues. Dragon Eater Samo, the angel who received the curse of God to hate dragons and snakes. A dragon whose existence was eliminated from the books. I say. Wait then, that's Azazel, if he made Adam and Eve eat the forbidden fruit, causing the wrath of God. It is said that thousands of poisons and thousands of curses imposed by God lie in his body. His poison does not. He can only kill dragons. Also other beings. But that does not explain why Cow can summon him. He is supposed to be deep in Casito and the Judica, he said, seeing the creature, and Cow, Issei. So the circle of traitors really exists, he said, also seeing the creature. Irina? Impossible, God wouldn't do something as cruel as that, he said with some tears about to come out. The fallen one just stayed fallen, and that was enough for Irina and Asia to start crying. Issei, seeing the 2 girls crying about her, only got angry and covered their eyes with tentacles made of shadows. Issei. Don't watch it, you Kiba, protect the others in case the battle gets out of control. Both? Hi Azazel. This is strange, isn't the god of Olympus supposed to take care of the underworld? Looking at Cow seriously, why would I let you guys go so deep into Tartaros to take this creature? Cow. More than going down it, I don't lend them in a limited way, but don't worry, we'll take advantage of every second, he said with a mocking smile. Azazel, What I knew that idiot hated demons and fallen. But why do this and much more knowing that Issei is with us? Is he up to something bad? Issei? We will ask him later. But now unsheathing Yui and Lin, you will have to help me and tell me how to kill this thing, he said, looking seriously at the monster in front of him. Azazel? I don't know. It's the first time I've had something like this in front of me. Anyway, be careful. If any of its blood touches you, it will cause you the greatest pain you've ever felt. Essie? Well, Yui Lin, any advice? No, sorry, master, but with its flames and even more the tires of God's creation, it could cause a lot of damage. Lin, sorry I can't help more than that, I say. It's okay. Well, when the creature in front of him let's dance, he said with a smile. How cow? Eat it, he said, so that the monster would growl and the battle would begin. The crucified dragon only opened its mouth after growling darkly. It pulled out a very long tongue, which withdrew and managed to reach the lowly dragon, who was covered in a black cube when touched by the tongue. Issei. Kiba. Hi. The boy only launched himself with a sword and tried to break the bucket, but his wife, upon making contact with it, caused the sword to be swallowed as if the bucket were some kind of mud. Valerie, Riaz, and Akeno tried to free the Gothic lowly, but the cube didn't even move as their attacks were swallowed. Issei covered Lin with white congote and cut the creature's tongue with one slash, surprising Chow Chow, and after that Issei only jumped to help the monster, but it seemed to attack Issei with total rage and fury. Issei at one point dodged a slash from the creature, but blood splattered on Issei's clothes, and he had to take it off and create it quickly so as not to be hurt by its blood that seemed to grab him. Azazel? Be careful, Asil. Samuel is nothing you've dealt with before. Asil? I know, he said, something annoyed, looking at the creature in front of him. Zenobia saw an opening in the creature's defense, and with her sword she lunged to attack it, but her attack was quickly blocked by Cao Cao. Ao Cao. Not bad, it seems like they improved, he said while his spear got in the way of attacking Samuel. Zenobia, was I that obvious? He said, separating and when Kai Cao would be. Ocha. If I don't get serious, this could get complicated. George, take care of that hybrid, I'll leave you control of Samuel, he said, looking at his partner. I'll take care of the dragons, he said, looking at Azara and Valerie. George. Are you sure? They are two celestial dragons, he said, looking at his boss. How cow? If I can't handle something as simple as that, then I don't deserve to carry this spear, he said, looking at his spear while showing a mocking smile. Valerie? TSK, clicking his tongue. Don't underestimate me, you bastard, Bizarro. Yes, we are stronger than you. Ao Cao. We'll see about that. Balance breaker. As he said that, Cao Cao was covered by a flash, and when he disappeared, 7 spheres appeared around him. Ao Cao. This is my polar might Longinus chakra, Valdine. Even if it's just a kind of balance breaker, I know it will be enough to defeat the silly girls, he said with a mocking look. Valerie and Azara were about to attack, but their powers did not react, and at that moment they were both crossed by 2 of the spheres, causing their stomachs to have giant holes in their stomachs. There he is, Izara. Hiroka. Valerie. Ao Cao. They can't beat me. That was one of my 7 Shatsukurota spears, she said with an arrogant smile. Issei became enraged and without his white flames, healed both of them in seconds. Aikano tried to attack along with Sarah and Akane, but Cao Cao said some strange words before his attacks disappeared. Cao Cao. It's a Teratana said, so that both attacks were teleported to another side. Do you really think you can against me? It's a shame that he can only seal the power of women. It would have been interesting to use it against you, hybrid, he said, looking at Issei. That surprised everyone but made Issei smile in a sadistic way. Issei, thanks for the information, idiot. Cerberus. When saying that, his faithful companion came out of Issei's shadow and attacked Chow Chow. It was difficult for him to dodge 3 more heads of the giant dog, but at that moment the sword of light stabbed him into his shoulder. How cow? Looking at the sword of light, they say, maybe only with women you can do that. But he said, creating hundreds of angels made of light, I will. I'm something else. The angels rushed towards Samuel and Cao Cao. The crucified dragon only grunted in pain as he felt how the handcuffs of light cut and burned his bodies, and Cao Cao received one or another superficial cuts from the other angels. Ao Cao, seeing that he was outnumbered by many, just decided to retreat and let Hades's gift take care of the rest. Ao Cao. Shit, Sama. The man could not finish as he felt chains wrap around his legs and pull them to the ground. What of? Issei, you know, you're not the only one who has new toys, he said, taking out Blue Rose. Ao Cao. Jellyfish ice cream, looking at Issei. Saying that, Issei's legs turned into stone, preventing him from moving, but the albino quickly covered himself in white fire, destroying the curse that the hero casted him. Ao Cao. Shit, it's stronger, much stronger, let's not go George Samuel. When he said that, the crucified dragon moved his words even more so that his blood fell to the ground and a black cloud covered Azara and Valerie. And when it cleared, they both fell to the ground pale while blood came out of Azara's mouth and eyes. Issei saw that in surprise and quickly healed both of them. Ao Cao, how much do we have, George? George? Enough, Ao Cao. Good. After that, Kai Cao just snapped his fingers, making Samuel remove the cute that covered office while he screamed in pain and agony. The office? My power was absorbed. That's your goal, he said, looking at Cao. That's right, we wanted to weaken and take your power for ourselves. But we came up with something better. We will dine on a new Ouroboros, he said with an evil smile. Azazel? And now you're leaving, Ao Cao? Of course. I'm greatly outnumbered, and I know I still can't beat him, pointing at his say. My plan was just to steal the power of the two celestial dragons along with offices, so now I'm leaving, and I wish you luck to survive against the Shinigami. Maybe if you do it another day, we can face each other again, he said to disappear in a purple cloud next to the Samo monster. Upon hearing what the Shinigami said, several angrily broke the walls of the room they were in to attack the boys, but his say increased his aura, making them stop, intimidated. Shinigami-1. I know you, he said, looking at Issei. You use our name in the supernatural world. Issei, I didn't choose the name, they just gave it to me, he said seriously, looking at the Grim Reaper in front of him. Shinigami-2, you know the trouble you and your friends got into, right? Hades-sama ordered us to execute them, we are going to have to. The hooded man couldn't finish since Issei shot backwards, causing one of the Shinigami that attacked him to fall to the ground dead. Issei, I'll only say it once, he said, increasing his aura even more, causing the Shinigami to be terrified by the intense power that the albino gave off. Go away. The Shinigami, knowing that they couldn't win, just decided to walk away and leave the boys alone. For now. Issei. Idiots. Asia. Azara, are you okay? He said, looking at Asara, who was still pale. Azara? Yes, it's nothing, she said weakly. Of course not. That thing absorbed his power until it almost killed both of them. It's better that they rest, or they could die if they make the slightest effort. Valerie? But Essie. But nothing, girls, take them to one of the rooms. The rest of you help me fix the room before someone sees it. The boys only helped repair the big damage to the room, and the girls took Valerie and Azara to a room to rest. Essie. Sigh. What a long day, she said, looking at the sky through a window. Art 33 Fall. The boys were now somewhat calmer after Issei scared away the Shinigami that he sent to Hades to kill them. Issei can now be seen treating her sister and Valerie. Issei. Quickly put both of them to bed, she said for her companions to put them both to bed. Azara? And it's nothing, she said weakly and tired. Valerie? Yes, we cough will recover soon, she said in the same way as Azara. Issei. Of course not, stupid, your strength was taken from you. You almost died if it weren't for your dragon resistance, she said, using her flames to heal both of them and restore her life force. There he is. Because office is not the same, she was completely overwhelmed by that black mass, she said looking at the lowly Issei. She is a goddess and a complete dragon. It is very difficult for her to get tired or for an attack to hurt her. Plus she only absorbed her power. In Azara and Valerie, it made it more effective because they are not complete dragons. Azazel? That's right. But we have to worry about that later. The Shinigami will return. They will just regroup and come with more people to kill us. I say. Well, what a pity for them, because I am an army, she said, creating several angels who began to patrol around her. Asia? And now what do we do, Azazel? For now, just rest and keep an eye on Azara and Valerie, Faye, and I will put up a barrier and think about how to escape without being killed, she said, going with the Pendragon to put up a barrier. Izara? Oh, Oni-chan, she said weakly. Valerie? I say see you in, she said just as tired as he. It's okay, just sleep and regain strength, we're fine, she said, taking both of their hands both. Hi. In a few seconds they were both completely asleep, but Issei was talking to Greg and Albion. Issei, and tell me how you could take away their energy? She said looking at both gloves. Albion? We don't know, simply when that smoke covered us we felt our strength being absorbed. Greg, and that bastard Hades almost killed my granddaughter, I'm going to kill him. I say. You know you can't do anything, right? She said looking at Greg with a raised eyebrow. Greg, I know but it sounded good to say it in this situation. Don't worry kid, if we feel the pulse of both decrease, we will let you know. I say. Okay, I'll leave you here, she said as she leaves the room. Greg, time Albion, I knew that one day my blood would reach the top. Albion. Yes, of course, you were just lucky that Tiamat didn't kill Katla. Greg? Time skip. After a few hours in which both rivals and carriers of celestial dragons woke up, they could already stand up, although they were still tired, and now everyone was listening to Azazel's plan. Azazel? Well, brats, this is the plan. Fay can teleport 2 people with her, she will take Zenobia and Irina, they will give the news to Sergiches and Michael, although I think Hades will already have something planned for that, so you'll be careful, he said, looking at the 2 girls. Both? Hi Asia. And why don't we all go in Issei's shadows? Issei. I have to stay for some reasons, so do you, Azazel continues. Iku, hey Arthur, should we make a bed? He said looking at his partner. Arthur? This is not the time for this, he said seriously Iku. Well, then you'll have to bathe office, he said with mockery. Arthur? Of course not, last time he almost killed me just because I splashed him a little, Iku? Therefore, whoever kills the least Shinigami will bathe her. I say. Office doesn't bathe. He said looking at the lowly who only saw both warriors angry for bringing up that topic. Valerie. She doesn't like bathing, and let's say that it's been a while since her last bath, he said looking at Loli that she only got more upset than they talk about that topic. Kuroka? Yes, Naya, she hasn't bathed in a few years, and in fact she warned us that if we told you about this, she would kill us, she said, looking at the gothic Loli who was already totally upset. The office. And I still keep my promise, he said as a purple aura came out around her. Kuroka. Yes, but we know you won't kill us, he said with mockery, because if you do it, your video game friend Issei will be sad, right? He said hiding behind Issei. The dragon Loli's aura only diminished until it disappeared, and then he snorted and calmed down a little. Piba? We're coming in too, boo! Yes, it will be fun, he said with a smile. Ika? And you Issei? He said looking at the boy. Issei? Say yes of course, why not, said something funny. Okino? Fufufu didn't know Office was some kind of dragon cat. Fufufu, he said, went to Office that she only blushed a little, but she was still upset for bringing that up. Azazel. Well, the rest of the plan is that those Shinigami will keep coming until they kill us, but we will have to destroy 3 statues with the symbols of Ouroboros or defeat the magician who locked us in this strange space. Issei. Like a video game, it will surely be easy. It will be like a wave mission, he said with a somewhat sadistic smile. Office. Wave mission, he said happily. I'm sure I'll kill more than you, he said looking at. Well, we'll see about that, he said returning the smile. Plus they will be easy since they can't see my face with my hood. Bryce? And what does that have to do with it? Essie? As long as they can't see my face, they won't be able to kill me with their notebooks, she said with a smile. The girls were a little confused by that, but the boys understood the reference and laughed. Azazel? They are not that type of Shinigami, but good joke. It is very unlikely that they can kill you, but be careful, their scythes can steal years of your life. Issei? Well, I think I have some left over, so there is no problem. Issei just stood near a wall and raised his hand. Yuri. What are you going to do? Issei. We will not use the hallway, she said, while letting out a strong flare that alerted all the Shinigami. The Shinigami only kept themselves in front of the hole Issei made in the wall. Issei. Guys, the competition starts now, he said, to jump on the skeletons with scythes starting to kill them. The guys just got serious and also started quickly killing the skeletons. The others also began to kill the skeletons, and now a black-haired woman could be seen surrounded by the Grim Reapers. Akeno. Era, there are many Grim Reapers here, fufufu. But he asked me, he said with a sadistic face, while he pulled out yellow lightning bolts from his hands, if they will be able to scream in pain for me. JJJJJJJ. There he is. Let's end this quickly, he said while launching a large ball of destruction, causing several of them to be destroyed by just touching the crimson sphere. The office. Don't forget about me, he said, starting to attack too. The dragon only created a giant sphere of power and then threw it at the skeletons, causing several to disintegrate and leaving a large crater in the place. Azazel. That's why I didn't want her to fight, he said, looking at the giant crater left by the lowly's attack. I say. Stop complaining and fight, she said with a smile, cutting a skeleton in half and shooting another with her revolver. Siegfried? You know you should take this more seriously, he said, arriving with more reapers. Easy. So that idiot Cow sent his dog to fight, said, looking at Siegfried. You. Brother, he and I have matters to resolve, he said. Yes, he would be the hero. Tibba? Me too, Siegfried. Don't think that I haven't been doing anything, he said, looking at both of them with a somewhat mocking smile. And trained for this to kill you idiots, he said, making the brands go for it. Tibba? I think a little help wouldn't hurt, he said, seeing the bunch of skeletons that were coming to them. Issei only created a wall that contained the skeletons for a few moments, while Issei smiled in a somewhat macabre way towards the hero. Issei, you know, Siegfried, I have studied your history a little. You became invulnerable by killing a dragon and bathing in its blood. Don't you feel like repeating that battle? He said. Look at the hero's sadistic signature. Siegfried? Esiel. Get out of hell and obey your king Fafnir. As he finished speaking, a crack in the earth appeared and a giant black dragon emerged from it. Siegfried? That's impossible. That thing is dead, Fafnir? What the hell? Who, me? The dragon stopped talking when he saw Siegfried. You bastard, Essie. So you are Fafnir, he said, looking at the dragon. Fafnir? You took me out of hell, boy, he said, looking at Essie. Essie? If I come to make you a proposal, you help us, and in exchange, I will give you the body and soul of the idiot who killed you. Deal, he said, seeing the dragon. Fafnir? If you let me chew this bastard in my jaws, I will, he said, looking at the hero with anger. I say. Well, guys, I'll leave Fafnir to help you. The boy couldn't finish since a Grim Reaper attacked him, but this one was different, more vivid latency than the others. I think he is enough, he said more confidently as he saw the dragon begin to attack the hero, while he took out his 6 arms to fight. A pleasure descendant of the king of demons and god of the Bible, he said, bowing. I am Pluto, and I come to take your soul, he said, pointing his side. That wait, really? ISS Pluto calling you? Pluto. Yes, he said, looking at Issei confused. Issei. Tell me where Mikey is. I want to say hello, he said, looking around mockingly. The skeleton did not understand, but a large shock sling tried to hit him that came from Azazel. Azazel? I'll take care of us, say, you continue. Let's see what you can do. Pluto. Also laughing. The Reaper lunged at the fallen man, and Azazel stopped laughing and took out his 12 wings and thought about attacking too. I Sakino and I toppled the statue, he said, throwing spheres of destruction at the skeletons. I see. So I'm going for the second one. Issei saw the statue in the distance, but a large number of Grim Reapers covered it. When saw that, he just smiled and took out his revolver to load a shot full of lightning, destroying the statue, along with the Grim Reapers that were in the middle. Siegfried, seeing that only George's statue remained, only ran until he reached his companion, while Fafnir chased him, while he let his fire breath destroy everything in his path. George? Siegfried, what? The hero didn't finish speaking since he had to create a barrier so that Fafnir's fire breath wouldn't incinerate them. What the hell, Siegfried? This is not it. Siegfried? Yes, the hybrid bastard brought Fafnir out of hell. George, but how Hades is supposed to take care of hell, issei? You idiots played your cards wrong, he said, appearing next to Fafnir. I could have always taken any creature out of hell, of course. Hades would surely have scolded me for that. But now that I know that the bastard tried to kill me by doing the same thing, I don't see the problem in copying his play, he said she with a smile. Fafnir only hit George's barrier heart to destroy it, and devoured them both, while issei took care of the surrounding reapers. Both heroes already believed they were dead, but then a dark shadow came out of a demon who thought they were dead. Siegfried? Shalba, he said, watching her come out of the shadows with a baby in her arms. Issei. So they also took you out of hell, he said, seeing a demon? Shalba, did you think your torture would kill me? Issei. Fafnir, you take care of Georg and Siegfried. Will I take care of killing this idiot? He said, looking at the dragon. Fafnir, that bastard will pay me. Don't worry, kid, I've got your back. But I hope you don't mind that I kill his friend too, seeing George. Issei. Not at all, making it like a dessert on my part, he said with a smile. The dragon just laughed, but then Shalba created a magic circle over the baby, making him scream at top volume. Siegfried? That's Leonardo, seeing the baby. I see. Kiba, you will protect the girls now. The swordsman only reacted and jumped to protect the others, while Issei looked at Shalba seriously. Shalba? It's a very emotional meeting, but I have to do this quickly, increasing the power of the magic circle, making him suffer more. Suddenly a gigantic creature was summoned, destroying a large part of the dimension, causing it to collapse. Although the monsters upon reaching the ground are quickly teleported in magical circles. Azazel? We have to go now. Shalba quickly flew towards Office and tied her up with whips made of magic. Valerie? I won't let her. The girl couldn't finish since she was still tired and her body was slowly collapsing from being in combat for much longer than it should. They say. Guys, go, I got this. Rias. Ice, please come back alive, Issei. Don't worry, I promise. Azazel. I'll do what I can to bring you in, Office. Issei just smiled and took out her wings to start flying towards Office to rescue her. Aquino. Rias is going to. Rias? Let's go, he'll be fine. He said he was going out with his friends. With issei. The field was destroyed right now. Only Georg and Siegfried were left fighting against Fafnir and issei, trying to rescue Office from Shalba. Issei, give Arcei back, he said seriously. Shalba. No thanks, we need her to give us her power, he said, launching magic attacks at issei. The attacks hit issei squarely and Shalba only laughed, but her laughter was quickly changed when she felt her arm being cut off, making her let go of Arcei. Shalba turned around and only saw issei with a furious face. The albino only kicked him, sending him crashing to the ground while she took Office in her arms. Shalba? What, you should have died, he said, getting up. Hurt, issei. You're equal, and let me tell you, you should have stayed that way, he said as he walked. There was the devil, Shalba. Well, Caw got me out of hell in exchange for helping him against you, so, here we are, he said. Well, a swarm of bees came out of a magic circle, but issei quickly incinerated them all with his flame. The albino only launched himself against Shalba with all his strength, beginning to beat him to death. Hit, 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 and hit were the only things that could be heard as issei disfigured the demon's face with his fist. Issei, this is for Office Duo, giving him another blow, and this is for trying to kill the ones I love, giving him another hit. But Lissy beat Shalba to death. Fafnir only destroyed the shield that covered the heroes and quickly opened his jaw and cut Siegfried in half. The dragon tasted Siegfried's blood with a smile, but before the dragon killed him, George escaped with him before they both died, devoured by the dragon. Shalba, you already lost, he said with a smile. The albino did not understand, but at that moment Yui and Lin warned him of something, but it was too late. An arrow had stuck in the albino's sword, and the boy just tore the arrow out with great pain and felt like his veins were burning in flame, while sweating a lot. Shalba? How Samuel's blood feels in your veins. Laughing as he got up, issei. Why, he said with pain. Shalba? What? Why do I do all this? I wasn't talking to you, idiot. Why the hell are you staying without doing anything, Office? He said, looking at the gothic lowly still on the ground. Office. Because if I helped them, they told me that they would give me back my home, that they would give me back that silence that I always wanted to hear again. They say, and you think that's true? Cough, you think they'll give it back to you, you stupid silly dragon, he said while his entire body burned to feel Samuel's blood in his veins. Lin? Love, please cure Shalba. She's like a child and it doesn't matter if you heal, Samuel's blood is already running through your veins, and little by little it will kill you, they say, even knowing that they treat you like a battery that they only use to gain more power. Office. The dimensional gap is the only home I know. I don't know anything else that I recognize as such. I say. A dog with pain all over the body, and how about I give you something you can call home, Office? A home? Here? I say. What do you think you call the ones you were doing for days, silly dragon? You were in a real home, with friends, with good company, and with people who don't treat you like a weapon. The dragon at that moment remembered the good times she spent every day with Essie, how she played and had fun like she had never had before. Shalba? Already death, she said, launching magic attacks. S.A. Fafnir? The demon only turned to see how some affiliated fangs cut him, and then felt how his body was cut in half when Fafnir devoured him, killing him. Fafnir? You're just scum, he said, savoring the taste of Shalba's blood. S.A. Gra. The boy didn't finish as he just fell to the ground while he felt great pain throughout his body. Louis and Lin. I love, they said worriedly while taking their human form to attend to Essie. Fafnir, you are dying, boy, but it is better that you do something before you die, he said, looking at Essie. Essie? I know, thank you very much, Fafnir, he said, look at the dragon. Fafnir? You're welcome, call me again when Siegfried's bastard appears again. I only ate half of his body, I'll really kill him next time. Issei? Of course. The dragon was swallowed by a crack and disappeared. Issei was only healed by Yui as the world around him collapsed. Yui? Master, resist, yes. Issei just tried to get up, but then he felt Office hug him while he cried. Office? Sorry, sniff, sorry for being a fool. Sniff, sniff, he said she while he cried into Issei's chest. Issei, it's okay. He nothing. Just getting up with difficulty, let's go home. The four continued and Issei went to the porta that Lefay used to leave that place. Oi, well, I love hers. The girl couldn't finish since she was pushed by Issei along with Lin and Office into the portal master. Issei just smiled as he watched the three girls try to leave, but Issei created a wall of light to prevent that from happening. Lin? Master, what are you doing? Yes. Come on. We're going home. Office? The portal can only carry 3 people at a time, Tell Rias to forgive me for not keeping my promise. And tell the others that he loved them. And I love you too, he said with a smile as I fell to the ground in pain. All 3, Amo, Issei missing. Issei only watched while lying on the ground as the world around him was destroyed. Issei. Sorry, girls. But I don't think I can continue, my body no longer responds. Cough, coughing up blood. Forgive me, Ethan. I won't be able to go to eat ice cream with you, he said, releasing some tears. Elsewhere, Gremory Mansion. The boys were desperately trying to create a portal to bring ease. Azazel was trying to create a magic circle, but it didn't work, the Gremory group too. They were trying to help, even calling Tiamat to make the dragon bridge so Office could bring Issei with her. Sona's entourage along with the other mass also observed with Hella and Rainer, who were worried about the albino. The circle glowed for a moment, and you, Lin and Office emerged from it. You, no love, Lin? Love Office? I say no. The 3 girls just hit the seal to make it work again, but it no longer reacted. Rias, girls, what's going on? Bizarro? Where is Oni-chan? Yui? He. Crying. Office? He is dead, she said, surprising everyone. All that. Tiamat? That is a lie, taking the collar of Office dress. Where is it? Lin? He sacrificed himself so that we could arrive safely, he said, looking at the ground as tears fell. The office. He was also poisoned by Samuel's blood, he said, crying to Sniff even after everything. Sniff, he saved me, instead of leaving me. The girls were just shocked by what they heard, and the boys just lowered their heads in pain, knowing that Issei had died. Rias? Ice? Said, falling on his knees crying. Ice. Thanks for listening to my video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment below your favorite part. Sayonara, see you in the next video.